Today's deck testing video is going to be quite the treat because the list you see on screen is actually not my own. However, it is something that a lot of people have been interested in. CVH is the community manager for the Elder Scrolls Legends at Bethesda, and if you follow him on Twitter, he's been boasting about this very fun deck that he's been playing, and he's been performing very well with it. It's a combo deck centered around things like Ring of Imaginary Might and the new Bone Armor card from Moons of Elsewhere, and he's even piloted it into the top 100. A lot of people have been asking for this deck code. He finally gave me the list, so I'm going to do a deck testing video. We're going to play 2 games, win or lose. Like always, deck code will be in the video description, so people can finally get their hands on this particular list. So here we go. We are jumping on the ladder. I hope we get to pull it off. I will admit, I have not played any games on this list as of yet, so I may not pilot it as well as CVH does. He's got far more experience. You cannot argue with the results, however. As I said, he has piloted it into the top 100, so even if I fail miserably in the 2 games in this video, don't fret. The list appears to be pretty decent. Now we're going to throw all of these back because Necromancers are our late game cards meant to bring back combo pieces and or you know, cards like Portcullis for stalling, Steel-Eyed Visionary, etc. They can even bring back the Tide Crawlers, which I think is rather neat. Alright, so against Mage I have to assume that their split card was likely Manic Jack. It's going to be mid-mage if I had to guess. Alright, we'll go ahead and do this. The early game with this list, as I was kind of eyeballing it, does appear to be one that is along the lines of being defensive, kind of fighting for the board. Yep, there is the Manic Jack that we were expecting.
If I fall, you will die.
So we'll go ahead and do this. I expect this to totally get nuked. Traditionally, mid-mage is a bit action-heavy, because you also want to combine it with something like Altmer Dragon Knight. And so I would fully expect to be firebolted here, but I did not, in fact, receive a firebolt. This is also interesting here. I mean, we're going to take this trade for sure. The question now becomes, do I play this just to have yet another guard over here and saturate that to Magicka, or do I go ahead and play the play? I think we just do this to be safe. I think we just go ahead and do that to be safe. Now, if you're wondering about some of the inclusions here, cards like Fallen Dragon, for example, are... I mean, it's basically a 5/5 for 5. However, what you're looking to do is you're looking to kind of target this with your Bone Armor while it's in your discard pile. The same thing can be said for Portcullis. Alright, well, I was right on the action part. Go ahead and drop this down, and that's another reason why the Fallen Dragon is in here, because it's a 0-cost heal when you play the Bullywog Tide Crawlers that you get with it, and a 5/10 for 5 is a-okay. And theoretically, if we want next turn, for example, we could swing for 15 with this, and I think we're going to, just for dramatic effect. Though we do have the Saber Cat, so we could theoretically wait in case they hit something like a Javelin. Now that is an interesting dilemma that we got there. Do we want to be flashy for YouTube and go with the big boy play? Because Snowy Saber Cat into a plate is 10, into this is 12. 12 and 12 would be 24, so this swings, and then that sets up lethal and potentially skipping runes. Yeah, let's do that. Because if they end up having an answer for the cat, then we can just turn around and still do it here.
The Oriole do not waste time chatting with mortals.
Alright, so they're going to do that and probably hit it with an execute. Not exactly a shocker. Sure. We'll drop a
Behold,
portcullis over there
my
just to try to slow him down.
magnificent monster.
Let's see what we draw. See if we can find a bone armor. And we did not. I think we actually discard this in further hunt. And, alright, well, let's get in there, gang. Just a casual 15-15. Hope they don't have an answer. Even if we lose this game, you're now seeing the point of the deck. You make big boy bodies, and then make some big boy
Let's
plays
do the fish.
with those bodies.
Kneel before the fate.
We fight for the glory
Alright,
of
that's
lost
an iron.
primaries.
Still okay at the moment. Although that could give her guard. Should be a little sad for us. Oh no! I called it!
I come bearing
1 in 8. A 1 in 8 chance to hose us. Oh, there's the bone armor that we were looking for, though. So, in this instance, we want to stall while also trying to just set up a victory with this. So, sadly, nothing we can do about that there. Portcullis is likely our best bet just because of the extra health, so we can just jam this in. And let's go ahead and jam one of these in as well.
Does war truly make a person stronger?
I suppose there's no reason to not heal this up. If they have a javelin, that's one thing, but... we will do this.
You won't spoil my plan.
So our opponent's already played some executes and so forth. All right, that's a big boy. What do we have in here that has a high health total? I think it's just the saber cat at 7 right now, sadly.
Kneel before
Oh, we have the
Let's
portcullis.
do the
All right, so that's a 9. All right, how do we want to do this now? Because the problem is this is after it attacks and survives. So I think we're going to attack into this, but we need to set some other things up in the interim. Sanctuary Pet is likely coming down along with bone armor and I think another guard here, right? So let's go ahead and do this. I think Sanctuary Pet also gonna go ahead and do this. And I think this is the most fun that we can have. Because that's what we're looking to do here, right? For the old YouTube, is have fun.
Let's teach these dragons.
Makes this smaller, sadly. Not much that we could really do about that. I guess we could have ordered and not broken that ward first. That would have been, I guess, the correct play. But as I said, this is my first time piloting the deck, so my sequencing, my order of events is going to be incorrect.
Let's do the fish stick.
Yeah, and I get punished by the javelin for
By
making
the 8th, they will
my
meet their
mistake.
makers.
We're still not out of it, though.
I'll profit from your
I'm
death.
definitely being punished. Now, this thing could get us back into it, potentially, which is rather nice. Let's go ahead and do this. Let's get that damage in. And now I have to figure out a way to not die. And I think that we just die here, right? Every time? Every time. Alright. A little bit sad. Because I
Plan is
threw this game with my sequencing error.
Person stronger?
But that's okay. The point is you at home got to see how the deck works. So this should have been a 15-15, which would have been lethal.
Gall and pox.
Instead, there's no way they don't have 1 extra damage here, right? I mean, this is a deck running Lightning Bolt, it's running Satanine,
I'll profit from your death.
it's running Lesser Ward, sure. Yeah, I was gonna say, there's no way that we're not gonna lose this, so that is my mistake. My apologies. Feels bad throwing games, but that's what happens when you get to see the very first time I've ever piloted something. Let's go ahead and jump into another game so that I can redeem myself. Because at the end of the day, we want to do flashy things. So we should be 1-0 if I was paying attention to the sequencing. Again, if you're not familiar with what I'm talking about, because the Steel-Eyed Visionary applies to all of my creatures, it lowered the attack on my dragon because I attacked into the ward first and then broke it, so that was the mistake. You know what? I'm actually going to keep this. The reason I'm going to keep Fallen Dragon is because I want to pitch it with Corner Club. Having the 10 health creature in the discard pile if we draw a Bone Armor, I think is more relevant. So we'll see what we can do to get the job done here. I don't think we lead off with this quite yet. I like to be kind of reactive with that, and I don't think I want to start hitting my opponent too soon.
Care to make a friendly wait?
And the moment they see what we've discarded, they will know exactly what we're trying to do. The jig will be up. Our opponent is far too smart for us to surprise them with shenanigans. I mean, I'm really, really disappointed that I threw that last game, but it is what it is. Interesting. I feel like playing this gambler makes the most sense. Just don't know what I want to pitch in this regard.
Care to make a friendly
Between the
wait?
Viper and the Bloodkin, I think we go with the Viper, simply because we can always bring that back with a Necromancer if needed.
Sign me up.
Alright, so this appears to be the, like, support control monk list.
I'll scout ahead.
Portcullis, that's another
You
card I would
bet
like to
on
get
the
rid
wrong
of.
side.
Let's go ahead and whack him there. Now it's just a question of what else do we want to do here? Yeah, I think we do this and just go with the Fighters Guild. That we certainly want to keep. So let's do this. So really we're on the hunt now for like a Saber Cat. Bone Armor is kind of a big deal.
What have we here?
Do this for now. So we jockey for position. There's a Saber Cat. Now we just really want a Bone Armor, huh?
You
Alright,
bet on
let's
the
break a
wrong
rune.
side.
They're just gonna heal anyway. Now we're gonna play this and it's gonna get javelined, just so we're clear. But I think it's totally worth it. Now the question that we have to ask ourselves is if we have the Fortune to top deck a Bone Armor, do we have potential lethal? The answer would be yes, because we would be able to play 4, 6 with the ring, 7, 8. So just go ahead and do this. Call that good enough. Now again, this will get javelined. Like, I would be shocked if it doesn't, but you have to make him use it. Hey! We're playing a game called Find the Piercing Javelin. And we were winner,
You
chicken
bet on
dinner.
the wrong side.
My scales.
Alright, we'll just go ahead and keep punching them. We'll put this over here, Saber Cat number 2 over there. We still don't have bone armor, sadly, which is kind of a big deal, but even taking it up to, you know, a 12-12 that can attack twice is a pretty big deal.
Dark times breed dark omens.
Wow, it's a big combo that they just pulled off.
Size alone belies this one's power.
Great for them, not so great for us. And so now we've got to figure out how we want to tackle this. Let's go ahead and do this. Kind of helps. Wasn't really what we were hoping to see, though. I mean, we can, still with the ring, mow through both of those. Then we don't really get to do much else for the turn. So I think what I like the most right now is to hit this. Let's go ahead and do this. Get a Viper back. Get him on the cusp. And then let's just get this out of the way. I don't think we heal this yet because we don't want them to know that it's anything more than a 7. I mean, they will likely still figure a way to buff this up and trade into this, but it's the risk that we got to take.
The forest is mine.
Yeah, Leaf Lurker works as well. If we heal there, we prevent the Leaf Lurker, but they would have had that anyway, so suppose it doesn't really matter. We're just hunting for a bone armor. Not finding it quite yet, but that's really what we're hunting for. To finish this game off.
Behold my power.
Let's go ahead and get that damage in. I think we're going to do this plus a Visionary. It's just a question of what do we want to get back with our Necromancer. It is not buffed up enough to get back a Saber Cat, sadly. But we can get back a Bloodkin. Could also just play the Bloodkin from our hand, which isn't half bad either. We go this, this, and this. Alright, that's something that I can live with.
Our clan is pure and strong.
Does war truly make
Let's go that route.
stronger?
Our opponent is on a control monk and they have a fistful of cards, so I fully expect them to have answers. At this point, we just really need a creature to stick more than anything, and we really need to find one of those mythical bone armors. We are almost halfway through our deck. There are 3 bone armors in the list, so I would like to think that we would find one soon.
I have you now.
For a brighter future.
That is still not a bone armor, but they've broken a rune, so they're going to hit this forward camp.
Hold the line.
Draw some cards. It's very impressive. Activate even more Moongate shenanigans.
Size alone belies.
And it looks like they're going to try to set up some sort of Alpha Strike for the victory this following turn here. Again, not much I can really do about that. Alright, so we need to top deck bone armor to win. And we did not. Now we can buy ourselves some time if we use this Ring of Imaginary Might just to heal so that we get out of lethal range here. But we are in a bit of a pickle. We are in a bit of a pickle and not a lot of great options. Can trade these into here. We could use a Necromancer to still try to Viper something. Again, just trying to buy ourselves turns. Yeah. Let's do this. Let's Viper something over here. Let's actually go with a Sanctuary Pet instead. It's kind of the same thing. And we'll just drop what will hopefully soak some damage for us. I mean, I expect these two to likely trade here. The reality is we still cannot win this if we don't find bone armor. We're just not drawing it. Which makes me even more upset that I threw last game. Because that means we might actually go 0-2 in this video and bring great dishonor upon CVH's list.
I do not fear. Feel the power of the moons.
Nice try.
Alright, the next draw means we will have drawn half of our deck in an attempt to find bone armor. We just need to grip it and rip it. That is not a bone armor. We're so close. That's 8, 10, 13. If they had not gained health, we would be there. Or, you know, if we'd actually top decked a bone armor, we would be there. But we don't believe in drawing combo pieces around these parts. I do think that we still make the play mostly because we want the drain. It's just a question of what do we trade into now. We're also going to likely develop this Portcullis to soak, and if that's the case, it's just going to eat this. Should probably trade here though, because otherwise that eats this as well.
Behold my power.
Die, abomination.
So we'll do that. Play the Portcullis. And then cry ourselves to sleep because we went more than halfway through our deck without finding a bone armor that would have ended the game.
Nalado will make them pay.
Alright, so Queen's Captain comes down, nukes our card, they draw 2, and that will wrap this up very handily. Trade here. Yeah, they might even have lethal already here. They got 14, 20. Oh, they're too short.
Dark times breed dark omens.
Though, that That certainly helps. Certainly helps with that
Size alone
quest for
belies
lethal.
its power.
I don't think that we have any outs. This is our only other prophecy left. Really? Like, because the only way we win, we don't have char. Oh, I guess we have a Viper in there. So, if we're not dead and we top deck, well, okay. There's the bone armor. There's the bone armor.
I do not fear.
So sad. So, I was just about to say, if we somehow don't die and they break all our runes and we draw exactly Bone Armor, Ring of Imaginary Might, and Territorial Viper, then that was a potential path to victory. But sadly, we are gonna go 0-2 with this list. I don't think it's the list's fault necessarily. I think game 1 was 100% winnable and I threw the game, but you at least got to see what the deck wants to do. Game 2 was just unlucky, and we were just playing against one of the best players in the game on a list that they have piloted, up to #1 legend, and we were a top deck away multiple turns from winning. So I do think CVH's list is good. I know that's hard to say when you see it go 0-2, but I threw a game, and again, one of the best players in the game piloting a list, and we were a top deck away multiple turns from winning. I think that says a lot about the burst potential and power level of a list like this. I think we'll hop in here real quick just to kind of do one last review. If it was me and I was going to make my own personal changes, I'm not sure if I would change anything. Like, the big thing that stands out is these are our only 2 sources of charge. So if you're trying to get yourself in position for some sort of late game burst from hand, if they do control your board, you're a little bit limited in that regard. But outside of that, I think that it's fine. I mean, you have a lot of stabilization tools with the lethal cards, with the guards, with the drain. It was just more of a misplay and a bad luck. There are 3 bone armors in here. I know that's hard to believe because it took so long for us to see them, but there are actually bone armors in the deck. So anyway, if you made it this far, I appreciate you. Thanks for watching, and until next time, may you walk on warm sands.